Your mic is off.
Let's try that. Test, test. There we go. So sorry. Okay. And the chat, opening the chat. Okay. Once again, welcome to Art 116, our so carefully recorded class meetings on Wednesday through no fault of our own. Did not get saved. And so I'm going to do this again because we didn't get to record it for you guys and for posterity last time. So there's that. Let's see if I can just get started again as I drop things on the floor and welcome you guys and talk a little bit about the class. Some housekeeping announcements this morning. I just went into the coursework and extended and reopened the deadline so that people could submit their work. I did notice that people had turned in projects except for 2 people, so that's great. Thank you very much. I want to get everybody in on this thing, so I've opened it back up so that people can submit their the first project, the graphic design project. I even have all of the other projects that got turned in. I tried to just download them so that I might have access to them so I can open them up and do a little bit of a critique possibly with them today. We'll just have to see how the time works because I wanted to continue our demonstration of the color wheel process. And for those of you who either weren't here on Wednesday or need to see it again, or more importantly, I need to get a recording of this so that people who weren't here on either day will be able to see some kind of a demonstration for working with paint, mixing paint, and trying to play this game. So let's continue this. Let's see. I remember that on Wednesday, I said that I was going to open up a PowerPoint presentation and talk a little bit about the first 4 pages of chapter 7. And I don't have that document open on my desktop right now. And because we've got several other things to cover, I may delay that until Monday. So let's just hold that. I still want you to look at the first 4 pages of chapter 7. Start reading chapter 7. And then don't read it once, but read it a couple of times to really get it to sink in. It's a lot of information about color and color theory, but it can help you not only as an artist and a designer, but also, in your daily life as a person, dealing with everything, because color and the way color goes together matters in your wardrobe and your fashion statement. It matters in interior design and how you work with the colors in your house, from your house paint to the colors and textures and fabrics that you choose for your furnishings and the way that you put together a room. All of this starts with color theory. So what we have to offer you in this class is it's basic design, and it's the kinds of things that can help everybody be better designers, graphic designers, web designers, but also aid you in putting together, better wardrobes, better outfits, better interior design. It just helps you make better, more informed choices about the kinds of colors and color combinations that we put together in life. So chapter 7, get that thing started. I was trying to kill a little time to see if I could get people into the classroom today, but we've only got 4 of you, so we're going to do this. I would like to encourage you guys to come on over if you can to get to pick up these forms, the template for the color wheel, so that you can execute the color wheel. If you can't make it over here, try to get one of your roommates to come over and pick it up for you. Let me know, maybe I can run one over to student housing if you need to get somebody to bring it over to student housing for you. But you really need this, and I really want you to have it on cardstock because cardstock is so much more durable than doing it on paper. I have sent it to one person already so that they could print it out on their home computer because they're not on campus, they're at home. They have cardstock that will run through their home computer, and so they're printing it out themselves. So if you email me or write me a note in the chat privately that you need a copy of this sent to your email as a Word document so that you can print it out on your printer, I'd be happy to do that. Okay, let's see who's all here. Adriel is here. Okay, yay. And Emily is down here. Yay. Okay, Kelsey is right there. Yes, indeed. Riley is right there too. Okay. So it's a relatively small class. I don't mind small classes. It's okay. I'm going to change views. Okay. Can I get a copy too, please? Yes. Do you want me to send it to you in your email? I'm not exactly sure how you want to receive the copy, so let me know. Okay, I'm gonna, let's see, change my picture to this. No, not that, the other one. All right, so I'm redoing my desktop so that I can work on this one more time. And please, email please, got it, okay. And tell me in the chat, or tell me just by unmuting your computer and telling me on your microphone if you don't want to see this again. If you get this, if you've done this a million times, I understand that. I guess probably I should do this anyway for the students who missed it on Wednesday, and I didn't get to record it on Wednesday. So there's all of that. I'm trying to get all of my act together here, and I still don't seem to have my palette for mixing paint on. But I have something that I can reach, which is another one of these containers. I'm going to flip it upside down, and I'm going to use the bottom of the container as my palette. Let's try that. And so, okay, I'm going to mix in the greens today to try to finish out my color wheel. So we're only using the 3 colors of our primary colors to try to build all the colors of this color wheel. So we are only using yellow, red, and blue to make all of these colors. And so I need to have yellow and blue on my palette so that I can do some color mixing to mix the greens. And so, and I keep looking over to see if there's any other questions, messages, or anything else in the chat that you guys need to get answered. So using these 3 colors, the primary colors, the primary pigment colors for the subtractive process, which we're going to get into. It's going to be mentioned in the first 4 pages of chapter 7, the subtractive color process that we use with pigments, because we are actually subtracting the wavelengths of light that don't reflect back to the viewer's eye, and we're reflecting back only the wavelength of light that reflects back from this material, from this pigment, back to the viewer's eye. We'll cover that on Monday. So I'm going to pick up a bunch of yellow. One thing we can learn about working with colors is that they're not equivalent in strength, in mixing strength. And so you're going to need a whole bunch of yellow and not quite so much blue to mix yourself a green, because otherwise you wind up with a very blue-green really fast, as I am doing right here. So fine, I'm going to take that blue-green and I'm going to throw it into my blue-green spot first, and maybe I'll make it a little bit bluer afterwards. But as long as I got the blue-green mixed up, I might as well use it. I'm going to try to take a little bit more of this yellow as I clean off my brush over here at an unused place. I'm going to take a little bit more yellow and mix it right here really quick, and see if I can make something that's just a little greener, and see how that works. And I'm going to try it in yellow green. I'm also going to try it in green. Boy, I sure need a lot more yellow for this. So I'm going to mix in a lot more yellow because the yellow is weak and the blue is strong. And so now what I'm getting looks a little bit more like a yellow green. So since I've got a yellow green, I'm doing this completely backwards because usually I like to mix the green and then try to tint up from it to make the yellow green and shade down from it to try to make the blue green. And today I'm not getting that. So I'm going to now bring in a little bit more blue because I think my blue green isn't blue enough, and I'm going to be working with that. But right now I'm just trying to make an actual green to go in the green spot. So I'm not having lots of success here. That green is just not quite green enough. That green feels to my eye to be just a little bit, well, we'll see what we can do here. Maybe this yellow green just isn't quite enough, but I'm going to try to pull a little bit more together here and create a green and stick it in the green. The green in my green spot right now, this is the green spot that I'm working on. This seems to my eye to be a little bit on the yellow side of green. It seems to be just a little bit more of a yellow green. So I'm going to want to continue to work some more blue in there to try to deepen it and bring it to some kind of a middle blue, green that's a halfway point between yellow and blue, and trying to make that work there first. I'm getting more and more confident about that green color as I go, but you'll see that some colors in student grade pigments don't tend to work really well. I'm going to pull in a lot more blue now and see if I can actually blue-green this stuff up over on this side of this puddle. So now I'm trying to make a blue-green with a lot more blue in it. And I'm going to bring it down to my blue-green spot and put that in there. That feels a whole lot bluer to me as a blue-green color because I really want to see incremental color change. I really, really want to see, incremental color change from green to blue-green to blue so that they look like they're equal steps in color change, stepping off of green to blue-green and then to blue. And so that color of green, and I'm going to try to bring it up and show as close as I can and try to get out of the reflections and stuff that I'm getting off of the ceiling lights to try to show you my blue green and then green. And then I'm going to come right back up. I am missing some paper towels. I need to really wash this brush really quick in a paper towel and pull all of the pigment out of it so that I can make a much more yellow green for my yellow green spot. So let me go. I'm going to get my paper towels and I'll be right back. Hold the phone. I'll be back. Okay, and I'm coming back because the sink was right there. And so I did an emergency brush wash. And now for you guys, again, with a clean paper towel, I'm pulling any possible pigment out of the bristles of the brush to once again make a clean brush with no pigment in it whatsoever, so that now I can come right back in and mess it right back up again. So I'm going to pull a lot more yellow out of here and try to mix it with whatever little teeny tiny green residue I've got, because I would love a yellow green that's a whole heck of a lot more yellower than what I've got in this spot right here that says yellow green. And so I'm going to go over the top of it, probably with just a lot of yellow to try to influence it. Again, the yellow is super translucent and it doesn't have much covering capacity. It's not an opaque color. And so I may even have to do my artistic painterly cheater technique, which is to take a tiny little bit of white, mix it into it, again, to try to help it with its opacity. And so I'm going to, squeeze a little bit of white on there, and then try to take a little bit of white and mix it in with the yellow and the whatever to make a yellow green that also has benefits from the addition of white as an opacifier to make the yellow stronger and a little bit more opaque so that it can cover better. And so when I come over the top of this time, I'm getting my very, very much stronger yellow green with the addition of white to try to help make it a bit stronger. Okay, so anyway, one more time, just for the sake of jazz. And I'm going to throw a little bit more yellow over the top of that, because I've got the white doing some work for me in one of those layers down there. And I'm throwing a little bit more yellow in here that is translucent, but it's also just yellow sitting on the top. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get incremental steps from yellow to yellow-green to green. And so I want that yellow-green to be a yellow-green and not green, because it's really easy to get yellow-green to be too green and green to be too green, so that these two almost look the same. And then we can make the blue-green just a little bit bluer, and that's kind of easy. And then stepping into blue. The whole trick in this, since we're only getting to use these three pigments, is how do you step off yellow to get something that is just a yellow-green. So you can see that I was fighting a good fight there, trying to make a lot of yellow with just a tiny little bit of blue into a green, and really trying to continue to influence the yellow-green with lots of yellow overpainting to try to get it into a yellow-green spot. In chapter 7, you have an illustration of a color wheel. So you've got a color wheel that you can look at in the book that can give you a really good sense of these colors that you're trying to mix. You can go on the internet if you want to and get it up on your phone. There's millions of color wheels out there, but this is a standard artistic color wheel that we use in teaching art. There are other color wheels that are structured differently, but we really need the one with the yellow on top that's based on yellow, red, and blue as our primary colors, orange, green, and violet as our secondary colors, so that we have this 12-step, 12-square color wheel to play with the primary, secondary, and intermediate colors that we're playing with and learning about with this first project. Okay, I'm going to rinse out this brush, and let's see, open it up for questions and comments. Do you guys have any questions for me about the color wheel? Has anybody been able to play with making your own color wheel? So far, I'm very interested. I'm going to try to come up here and find my camera and then open it up to you guys. So, please unmute your mic and tell me if you're there and if you have a pulse and that you're alive, because those are important things. And then let me know what's going on. Jordan joined us. I got to make sure we get some participation points right there. Welcome to the party. Okay, so I'm going to be sending Riley a copy of this document as a Word file, so that Riley can print this out on her own computer. And so if anybody else needs a copy sent to them, let me know and I will print this out. I will send it to you as a Word document so you can print it out on your computer. I have printed this out on a card stock. So hopefully you can print it out on a card stock on your computer. Even if you've got the Bristol board, you could cut the Bristol board down to 8.5 by 11 and use that. I asked you to buy 9 by 12 Bristol board at the beginning of the class. 8.5 by 11 would be handy to actually be able to go through a standard document printer. And I do believe you can get either cardstock, or you can even get Bristol board in an 8.5 by 11 size, which is the same size as computer paper. That's available at Staples, and so that is a possibility. I just hate to have you guys keep spending money on stuff, because we're going to make 1 or 2 of these and then we're going to move on to something else. So I don't want you spending all your money on something that we're only going to use once or twice in the class. In the meantime, I do have the copies of this thing outside my office door, once again, on the west side of Eden Hall, outdoors. It's on an 8-foot long table outside that west door. And I've got a little sculpture, a little stone sculpture sitting on top of it to keep them from blowing around in the wind. So please come over, help yourself, limit of 2 per customer, and please put the stone sculpture back in place again to keep them from blowing around in the wind. Okay, questions, comments about the color wheel? You guys getting this for the most part? If you don't ask me a question, I'm going to assume that you do pretty much get it for the most part. Okay, I'm going to keep one eye on the microphones of the participants, and if I see you guys unmuting a microphone, I will call on you so that you can do something. I'm going to do a screen share and see if I can open up any of our projects, because I had all these projects out here. So this is everybody's project, and I haven't been inside of anything yet. So I was going to open this up and see what I could see. So it's a PDF. I'm going to double click on it. It asks me what the heck you want to open it with, because you don't have that available to you. Okay, so I'm going to, I have a document open here. I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to come back to you guys. I'm going to go back to my screen share, and I'm going to open this and see if you guys can see it. Can you see this project? Anybody? You got to unmute your microphone to let me know. Okay. So this was done. He loves me. Say no to feminicidio. That's domestic violence. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is huge. This is scary. This is a big damn deal here. But I need to kind of look through this and analyze it in terms of the effectiveness of what we're dealing with and seeing here. This was a tough one. I just opened this, so forgive me for freaking you guys out or sharing something that's difficult. But so I'm looking at the font that we're using here. He loves me. This is definitely a oh gosh, I can't remember the type of font that I characterize these things at. There's serif, sans serif, and other kinds of fonts that are used for very specific situations and for parties and stuff like that. This has a real party kind of a feel to it. It has a real festive fiesta kind of a feel to it. It feels really like a Mexican font to me, actually, which is good. It feels like a Latin American font. And I think that the person who made this comes from a background like that. So I think the font's name might even be Fiesta font. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's in all caps. But the font does make a little bit of it calls attention to itself because of all of the detail in the font. All caps and all of this. We've changed the font color over here from blue to red for no, and feminicidio over here. So the words are in red. Again, we talked about the meaning of the color red, that it's about passion and death and violence and all of that kind of stuff. We see the use of red happening in the middle of this composition here too. The student is not here today. I don't know if this is an artwork that this person did themselves, or it's something that they found on the net. It looks like a drawing. It looks like a um, charcoal drawing of someone who has been battered with a black eye and stuff like that. And then more red has been splattered over the top of it to indicate blood. And it's a very powerful graphic statement. The last thing that I can identify for us, oh, I get it now. I see it. I didn't see it before. Oh my God. Okay, here's the map of Mexico. Central America and South America is on her shoulder. So it's actually the map of Central and South America dripping with blood. I get it now. Oh my God, I'm so stupid. I am a white male after all in North America. Okay, I was also looking at the outside edges of this shape. So we've got two squared off corners and we've got two rounded corners here. And that's important, that's interesting, because it also calls attention to itself in terms of the formatting of this shape. It's not just a rectangle, but we've got these radiused corners on the two sides of the rectangle too. And I'm just trying to, again, relate that to what's going on in here. And I'm trying to do this on the fly. So, you know, we've got rounded, softened corners and sharp corners, and they're kind of integrated together. And so that could possibly be the interaction of male and female, you know, masculine and feminine energies and forces and that kind of thing. We're definitely talking about what happens when inappropriate, you know, masculine, in this case, energy is being used against the female member of the masculine and feminine duo. So a very interesting, extremely powerful image in the middle. I don't know where it came from. If this is the student's art, this is fantastic. I wish to maybe suggest bringing these things closer together. I'm always interested in trying to consolidate and pull things together. These three words over here on the left side tend to float independently of themselves and don't relate as closely to the image as they could. By moving them closer to the image, you're creating a stronger visual linkage between the text and the image itself. We have these three elements over here. I guess they're justified left, although they seem to be justified centered because of the quotation marks over here moved he over just a little bit. But I guess this is justified left, and this is justified left text too. Anyway, I'm looking at how the E at the end of he and the S and the me and the end of E, this kind of makes this C curve shape, which kind of fits into this curving shape of the face and the neck and then the chest of the person. So it'd be kind of interesting to see what happens if we moved these letters over a little bit closer and tried to tuck them into nesting up against, or in some way a little bit closer to this negative space that's right here by the person. Okay, I'm going to stop the share for a second. I'm coming back to you guys. That was a really hard one to open up and deal with from the get-go. If you are dealing with domestic violence at all in your life, please get help. You can turn to counseling services that are available on campus here. You can turn to your teachers and ask for help privately. Don't ever suffer in silence, because there's help available. You can turn to me and I can make discreet help available to a person. So I just want to put that out there for folks to know. I also feel like I'm talking to myself a lot because I'm not getting a lot of feedback from you guys. So this is hard. But anyway, that's about a half an hour that we did. I got to do one graphic design feedback, and then I got to do a little demonstration dealing with the yellow and the greens, the yellow green, the green, and the blue green part of our color wheel. So I'm going to ask you guys if you want me to do anything, because I'm taking I'm going to take requests now. This is the request portion of my performance art piece. So it's your request time. Would you like me to open up your project that you turned in for the graphic design so that we can critique it and share it with anybody? If you do, please unmute your mic and let me know. Or if you have any questions about the color wheel project, about the paint, the brushes, or getting started with that, also, please let me know, especially if you've already been able to get started with it. Any questions or comments? I'm looking at the microphones that are red with little slashes through them. You guys are really hard to get to interact in the class. Well, and so maybe people are satisfied and they just don't have any questions or comments for me at this time. And it's a Friday and it's threatening rain. And it's just hard, unless you've had a couple of cups of coffee, like I have, to get excited about talking about graphic design and color theory on a day like this that's so gray outside. So I'm having a swig of coffee, and I'm going to just go ahead and say, have a good weekend. I will send out to the people who are asking for it the copy of the color wheel template so that you can get underway with the project. Please come over and pick it up if you can, or send somebody over here to pick it up for you if you need help doing that. And we want to work on the color wheel over the weekend. I would really like you guys to be able to share your color wheels with me in the class on Monday. And I've reopened the graphic design project so that people can get that thing turned in to coursework. Please upload those things to coursework. Don't email them to me, because I can't upload it into coursework for you, and you need it in coursework so that it's in your file so that you can get a grade for it in coursework. So, but most people are uploaded with the first project, and that's great. I'm going to call it a day because I was able to record this, and so I've got a nice succinct little recording of both the color wheel demonstration and a little bit of critiquing of the graphic design. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. Have a really good weekend. Work on the color wheel, and I'll see you guys again on Monday morning. So, goodbye for now. Thank you.